Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about The Suicide Squad. Oh, 2 days ago was leg day, so it may be The Suicide Quad. The Suicide Squad is a sequel slash reboot of Suicide Squad. This movie being directed by James Gunn, who is best known for his work in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Suicide Squad was a big disappointment to me on multiple fronts, and it actually was a review that I made that I never posted. The Suicide Squad, when I saw that it was going to be directed by James Gunn, I was immediately excited for it because I'm a huge fan of his work in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I thought, why not give it a shot? So this movie follows Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, and Peacemaker and their team as they move forward and to the island of Corto Maltese to infiltrate a location and destroy what is known as Project Starfish. Amanda Waller plays the Overseer as she and her team of admin basically facilitate this mission, and the rules are kept the same from the previous. The Suicide Squad is comprised of basically terrible villains and people from the DC universe, and they go in and do these missions where they will more than likely die, but if they ever decide to not do what has been mandated for them to do, there's a chip that's in the back of their neck that Amanda Waller is not afraid to detonate and kill them on the spot. Before we get into the 6 things that make a movie great, I wanted to talk about a couple things I really enjoyed about this film. I really enjoyed the humor of this movie. As James Gunn does, he incorporates humor in a way that fits the characters and is fun for everyone. The subtle humor and the one-liners in this movie made you laugh really hard. Some of the action sequences and scenes in this movie were really well done. The action was funny but also brutal. And I really loved the inclusion of some of the abstract characters that make up the Suicide Squad. I've always liked the idea of superheroes and supervillains who are not as well known, but I think James Gunn does a good job of showing, even with those weird and abstract powers, what they're truly capable of doing. So I think that he captured that really well in this movie, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. Bloodsport was easily one of my favorite characters. The tools that he has are so freaking cool. I can't describe to you how cool they are, and his whole suit. Like, Bloodsport, super cool character. Same with John Cena. You really grew to love this group of Suicide Squad and however long they end up lasting in the future. So without further ado, let's talk about the 6 things that make a movie great. 1. The plot. The plot in this movie was super simple, just like it was in the first movie, only this time it was better. You're just following the Suicide Squad as they go and do this mission that they all know is slim to none that they survive, but they still try their hardest to do it. There's a lot you can do with that, and I think that James Gunn did a really good job of keeping the plot simple. He added some twists and turns in there, but overall, really well executed, in my opinion. So I have to give the plot a thumbs up. 2, family friendliness. This is the part where I have some drawbacks. So this movie is not family friendly whatsoever. Even my wife had a hard time watching it because of how bloody and gory it was. That stuff doesn't bother me as much, but what does bother me is nudity. And unfortunately, James Gunn decided to include a couple extremely unnecessary nude scenes in this movie. The things that you see are barely on the screen for more than 3 seconds. It just is really disappointing to me that people decide to include this in their film when it's completely unnecessary. They definitely corner off their demographic because there's a lot of people who have issues with that, more so than blood and gore and profanity. The inclusion of that and another scene that the scene was absolutely phenomenal and hilarious, but they included full frontal male nudity. I was super disappointed with James Gunn for including that. Besides that, this movie is definitely one of the most gory movies I've seen, and the profanity is through the roof as well, and it's pushing the line for adults as well when it comes to what you're willing to watch. It is gross. Some of the shots that you see are pretty disgusting. So thumbs down for family friendliness. 3, acting and script. I was a huge fan of the cast of this movie. I think some of the people who stole the show for me were Idris Elba, John Cena, Ratcatcher, and Polka Dot Man. All of the actors and actresses did a fantastic job in this movie, and the lines that they were given were funny, they were heartfelt, they were just well written and well delivered. There wasn't a moment in this movie where I thought an actor or actress wasn't giving it her all, or that the script was ever failing in some of the way that it was written. Some scenes actually got drug out. I say that this movie kind of had some pacing issues in just one or two areas. So overall, acting and script gets a thumbs up. 4 is character development. This movie did a really great job of focusing on individual characters. You have a team of people, and as we see in the DC universe and Marvel universe, it can greatly benefit you to have movies for each of the individual characters before they come and join together as a team. Well, James Gunn does a great job of juggling all these different characters, but giving them each moments that build up their character throughout the film. For example, there were characters that you thought for sure weren't going to be doing anything useful, but they ended up showing a lot of heart and building their character. And like I said earlier, the characters all find individual reasons why they continue doing what they're doing. These characters actually dug deep, and through the reasons why they're doing what they do, you find character development. And there is heart in this movie. I think that in the first movie they really tried to make it dark and gut-wrenching, but it didn't end up landing, whereas in this movie you actually feel for the characters, and you feel there's different moments where you can really identify with some of them, as crazy as that sounds. And I will say that even though Viola Davis returns in this movie to reprise her role of Amanda Waller, I believe she was completely nerfed. In the first film, you see her murder a ton of people just because she's that savage, but in this movie, she's completely nerfed. She talks the talk, but doesn't walk the walk. And so that was kind of unfortunate, because she was one of the best parts about the first movie. But other than that, the character development was all really well done, and I really enjoyed it and look forward to more. So thumbs up for character development. Number 5 is CG. I thought the CG in this movie was great. I mean, you're dealing with characters like King Shark that we've seen in The Flash, but you see a different version of King Shark in this movie, played by Sylvester Stallone. He does a great job voicing him. You see like lots of CG moments, and it all looks pretty great. I mean, for how ridiculous the movie is, and it just being a super or anti-hero kind of movie, it's pretty well done, so I have to give CG a thumbs up. And 6, rewatchability. I went to go see this movie in theaters and then came home and realized that it was on HBO Max as well, and my wife and I watched it the exact same night. So I literally watched this movie 2 times in one night. So it's safe to say how I feel about this movie. I give it a thumbs up when it comes to rewatchability. This is the Suicide Squad that you will go back and watch, not the one from David Ayers, unfortunately. There was a lot of very cool dynamics in this movie. It was action-packed, there was funny lines, there was a surprising amount of heart. I was so stoked that Idris Elba finally got a lead character role in a movie, because I think he's crazy talented. I'm tired of seeing him be cast as a side character. I also want I want him to get one as well, so maybe the next movie, I don't know. With that being said, there were some drawbacks. Not a fan of the nudity. This movie is terribly gory. There were some elements that weren't great. All in all, I'd probably have to give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I wonder one day if there will ever be a movie that has everything we want in it without things that end up kicking the rating back. But if there's anyone that can do it, it's James Gunn, so I'm hoping that in the future, with the movies he makes in the DC universe, that he's able to find that balance. Thank you so much for watching. If you think I nailed it on the head, or if you think that there's something I completely missed and I just don't understand good movies anymore, then please leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. Hope you all have a great weekend, guys and gals. See you in the next one.